Ooh.
I just really want to sing a song.
And we are live. It's been so long since I've said that.
It's been a couple months.
A couple months. It's been like 4 months.
Has it been 4 months?
Our last live, because I never posted the April one that we pre-recorded. Just because by the time it was edited, like everything was just kind of like no longer relevant. So maybe I'll post it one day on like if we ever decide to do like Patreon again or something like that. But it was just kind of like so past the point.
Oh my gosh.
And the plans that we discussed ended up not coming to fruition. So it was just kind of like, okay, I don't want to confuse people. So I didn't post it. But yeah, we haven't.
You know, it's bad because I don't even know which one you're talking about.
It's the one we pre-recorded.
Okay.
A long time
I'm trying to think. I'm
lost.
But you said it was April, so it's like I don't even remember what we talked about.
I can't even remember what happened in April.
Yeah. Well, the last time we actually posted something, I want to say was either February or March. I could be completely wrong.
Oh wow!
Hold on, let me look it up.
I'm a little shocked. For some reason, I didn't think it had been that long.
Our last,
I gave us May.
You said May?
Yeah, I thought it was May. But
our last post was 5 months ago.
Wow.
That's why when you were like a couple, I was like, a couple.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say it, I'm like, oh, not a couple.
Not a couple.
Not
it's
a
been
couple.
Almost half a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I don't know what it is about the last few years, but I honestly feel like things have gone on in each of our lives and things happen like simultaneously. I feel like if it's just like one person going through something, then the rest of us can rally, but literally it'll be like all three of us at the same time. And it's just like, all right.
Or it'll start off as one of us. And then when the one person's like, okay, I'm good. Then it's like, all right, well, I'm going to just jump my chaos to the next person.
Yep.
I'm like, well, and I feel like we just do better as the three of us. So
we do. I was definitely thinking about possibly for next year doing things kind of like how some book clubs are in session and then out of session. Like you go in session for maybe like 2 months, then you're out of session until the spring, then you go in session for like a month or two, then you're out of session until the fall. That might actually work better for us, just based off of life events and things that come up.
Oh my God, we could treat it like a summer reading list where it's like when we're on, we talk about 2 books. So when we're off, here's the books to read for the next time.
Basically.
Schoolwork.
But I mean, that's definitely something to think about, you know, for next year and see how that goes. But we are back. 5 months later.
5 months later.
So, how y'all doing?
We are still friends, for those wondering. We did not fall out with each other. We did not have.
Just know, for future reference, anytime we go out of commission for months on end, we're talking to each other daily.
We still talk to each other every day.
Every day.
Our group chat is still very active. Like we're still in communication.
That's hilarious. You have to put that disclaimer out that cracks me up every time. It's like, oh no, we still communicate. We just don't be communicating on the internet. That's all.
Right. So I didn't even do our intro, but that's neither here nor there. So how are y'all doing?
Woo, we've been out of practice for real.
I know. Also, the theme for tonight is, in case y'all are wondering, is bonnets and pajamas or t-shirts in our case.
Yeah, because ain't nobody got time. Like, I was gonna try to be cute, but I'm in the process of making sure my house is clean so that because I'm going to DreamCon this weekend and I plan on like shutting down and not communicating as a human starting on Monday. And I don't want to do that in a dirty house.
I feel that.
So
everyone gets 60 to 90 seconds to talk about what's been going on with them.
Okay, I guess I'll continue.
Cora's like, oh.
I have been trying to reorganize Melanin Eclectic's website.
Okay.
Making products. I haven't announced the theme for this year's planner. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but only the people who actually watch it will know the theme already. But I'm literally one away from finishing. And when I tell you my brain is dead, my brain is so dead. I have been trying to sketch ideas at night, and then I wake up in the morning and I hate them.
Oh, but they're so good.
Yeah, the finished ones, but not my sketches. My sketches are like I'll draw them and I'm like, oh yeah, this looks really good. And then at night or the next day I wake up and I look and I'm like, why did I do this? This is ugly.
You are your harshest critic for sure.
I am. Beryl messed up my fence, but the best part about having friends is having friends with husbands that have gigantic toolboxes. So we definitely did a ghetto fix on my fence, because what is the point of paying for a new fence in the beginning of hurricane season?
For real.
So yeah, other than that, that's it.
I guess I'll go next. Nothing's really been up too different. I'm in the same state and city as Brittany, so Hurricane Beryl came, and then our power went out, so we went to my aunt's house, who then I don't know if I told I can't remember if I told y'all this. The day she brought us to her house, she may not love I put this on the internet, but at like 2 a.m. she comes into the room to watch TV with me and my grandma, and she's gray, and we're like, "What is wrong with you?"
Not Jackie co-signing, bro.
Jackie.
Hold on one second.
She said, I want to tell the story. Like, I can handle it. Let me tell the story.
And so we give her 24 hours, and then her fever spikes. So at 2 a.m., my grandmother takes her to the hospital, and she came down with pneumonia. So we were then taking care of her for 3 days while our power was out, because she was by herself at the time. And so then our dad calls me and is like, hey, the giant China berry tree has fallen in front of the house. And I was just like, great, just wonderful. And as y'all know, I showed y'all in a group chat that he's been like chainsawing it up, and I'll show you the chat. Like, this is the
he's
picture.
having the time of his life right now, honestly.
A G picture.
It's like such a dad picture, though.
This is a dad picture. I literally texted him after. I said, this is the most dad thing you've ever sent me. I told him that. I was just like, okay. And honestly, he's gotten almost all of it gone. I would show y'all, but then I'd be doxing myself. But so
it's cheaper for him to have the dad moment than it is to pay to remove a tree. It's like $4,000 to remove a tree after it's fallen.
So he's been doing that, and it was a big tree. Y'all saw the tree in the chat. I'll send y'all the after effects of him chainsawing it up. Other than that, nothing. Oh, and I had my nephew for 2 weeks. Y'all know that. He came down at the end of June, right after school let out, and I love him to death. Further putting into motion not having children.
I feel like the day you cross the pearly gates, obviously when you're old and gray, there will be a medal waiting for you. That's going to be like number one on TV.
That's just not what I was expecting you to say.
Will be there to present you with that ball. Like, I just want you to know.
Yo,
and there just be like a real playing in this heavenly skies of like.
You are so dumb, bro. I did not know that's where you were going.
I did not know where she was going with that. Just the fact that I had this giant blow up. First of all, my aunt told me the blow up mattress was a twin bed. Y'all saw that blow up mattress. It was not a twin bed.
Yeah, it took up twin beds now, like
the entirety of my room. And this little child, he wanted it up all day long, no matter what time of day it was. So Jackie was not feeling it because she couldn't move, and it was just like, it was just so much. And then both of my nephews were here, plus my godson, and they were
I'm telling you, you got a plaque waiting on you.
My parents had 5 children, and There's only from my older sister to my baby brother, there's only a 9-year age difference. How they did it. So I'm like, at one point, y'all had a 9-year-old and 2 1-year-olds.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a no for me.
So that was fun. His mom called me and was just like, "So how'd it go? Was he on his best behavior?" I was like, "Well, it's Ro. He's always on his best behavior, but he's a kid, so
like, what are you expecting?
I guess
it's gonna be kidism.
He's gonna be a kid. Honestly, though, he's so old that all he did all day was get on my TV because I don't really watch TV and watch gameplay of Minecraft and gameplay of Fortnite and SpongeBob reruns. So I have seen more SpongeBob in the last month than I've seen since 2000.
Dang.
So that's been pretty much me.
All right, y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we about to be sitting here with the mouth. Should I just like brace myself? Because you sound...
Well, you guys know some of it, but not all. So obviously my goddaughter was born, first goddaughter, so beautiful. Came back from the trip, got sick, so sick, like the sickest I've been in a while.
I'm really convinced you had COVID, like a severe form of COVID. I'm convinced.
I mean, perhaps. I just am not accepting that label.
Please.
So I was sick and I still have a cough from being sick, which is insane. So I've been sick for like, including this cough, for like 3 weeks. Then I got into a car accident where I literally almost died. It was very Final Destination, but I survived. But I don't have a car. But the car accident situation is so bad that it's probably going to become a criminal case. And the person who caused the accident was not insured. And it's become this whole cluster. So it's been taking them forever to fix my car because I basically had to use my insurance and my collision to fix my car instead of that other person's because there may not be insured, and they caused like life-threatening injuries to people. And
Jesus,
now there might be like a police case. There's a whole thing. So that happened. Then I met a boy, or a man, I guess. I'm not going to call him a man.
Oh God, she said I met a boy.
And I was being cautiously optimistic, but now I done found out from this girl who popped up on my For You page, I'm not going to go into more detail on that we may possibly be dating the same guy. So now we're meeting up tomorrow. We were supposed to meet up today, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have a podcast. I can't. So we're meeting up tomorrow to compare notes because we're like 99.99999% sure that we're dating the same man. So there's that.
Oh, Shalay.
When does the book drop?
Right. Okay. That's what I was like, ma'am, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but the last couple months for you have been intense. But the fact that you're about to meet, like, this sounds like, I can't think of the name of the movie, terrible. But it has Cameron Diaz in it.
The other woman.
Thank you. That's exactly what the vibe just gave me. But also,
there's this, the Facebook pages that are like, are we dating the same guy? And it's like by city by city.
Yes.
So I'm part of that group. Well, I was, and then I had left the group, but then I tried to rejoin. It's a long story. My approval is still pending, but I recognized the girl from that group. And so I was like, wait a second. Wait a second.
And then she obviously, I'm going to ask for more details off camera, obviously. But anything else that's been going on since you've kind of hit every category at this point?
I think that's it.
Jesus.
Maybe. I can't. I mean, there's been so much that I can't. That's why I just be quiet in the chat sometimes. I'm just
we don't be talking about nothing.
No, me and Brittany are just like, oh, look at this Winnie the Pooh. No, but you're over here living a whole lifetime.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're out here like living a movie.
But it's like, when you're like sometimes going through things, you like don't want to talk about it. So y'all's little like Disney, like, oh, should I get this? Like, oh, like brightens up my day. I'm like, oh, somebody's living a good life. Okay, let me heart this.
You know what though? About 85% of our group chat, 85% of our group chat is kind of Brittany and I nerding it out.
Yes. And I'm just like, heart, please get it. Thank you.
It's no. Correction. The group chat is mainly nerd outs or like sibling support group. That's literally the chat.
Older sibling support group.
We really do need shirts.
Did you see that drama on insert which book social media?
Yes.
That's it.
We need shirts for our sibling support group.
Did y'all see that video that went viral of that white lady who, like, her daughter was having a birthday and she blew out her candles, and then the other 3 siblings wanted to blow out the candles, and then she let them. I was like, oh, that poor little girl.
And the way the internet dragged her, I feel like between her and the lady that was talking about shoes to the club, like people don't wear shoes.
Oh yeah, shoes to the club.
No.
That was crazy.
The lady who's 11-year-old, like she literally, I think she made another video where she was like, the harassment and the bullying that I've been experiencing. It's like, babes.
Actually, you know what though? I feel like people got mad at the wrong thing. Like, everyone was mad that she let everyone blow out the candle. But I was more concerned about the fact that she let them do it, recorded the video, edited the video, did not pay attention to her daughter's face fall slowly.
That was my thing.
And I was like, you edited this and then posted it and kept it?
I was like, keep in mind, when
that
she blew out the candles, she literally did this to her sister's mouth.
Yep.
Of course, my mom starts trying to call me right at the.
Of course,
I love it,
mother.
But please. I feel like the fact that she didn't notice her daughter's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I think she noticed it. She just didn't care because her daughter probably always has that face.
I was about to say, I feel like that happens all the time, and she's just used to it now. And
I'm a horrible person because all I thought was y'all gonna have to get me some new cakes because that's a whole lot of spit.
Yeah, my parents like wouldn't let, like, if there were like really young siblings around, they just couldn't come to the table. Like, they weren't around it.
I'm like, you have to tell your kids no, and not one of them looked too young to be told no.
No,
one of them looked
not the little girl that was, the little sister. She looked too old to be trying. They don't get invited to birthday parties.
They don't.
You can tell because Sid probably tries to open up to other people's presents too.
I was gonna say, like, it kind of looked like they don't have a social circle because I don't recall that ever being an issue in my childhood. Like, when it was my birthday, it was clearly my birthday. When it was my brother's birthday, it was clearly theirs. We never had an issue being like, I want to blow out your candles. We stood there and we stood back and let that person have their moment. So I'm just like, what type of social conditioning are they missing? Because if you go to other kids' parties and you go to other kids' events and you basically live a life that's not centered around you, you understand that, like, it's not always going to be about you.
Honestly, if anything, me and my siblings, the most we did was, can you hurry up and make a wish?
Bro, I didn't even do that. I would just ask them not to spit on it.
Oh, that part.
Because I wanted the cake. I was like, I could care less what your wish is. It doesn't benefit me, but just don't spit on the cake, please.
Like, blow softly, please.
That my mom is also that kind of person. She was like, please don't blow spit all over this cake.
COVID blows, please. COVID blows.
Right. just wave your hand over the candle.
Wave your hand.
And wish.
Now that lady in the green dress with the club shoes, I was like, girl.
First of all,
but did y'all see her response?
No. I love her response. I'm not gonna lie.
So
she's very chaotic.
Came back, like, totally code switched, like, with a nice little sophisticated little voice, and was like, "Oh my goodness, I had no idea that you guys were gonna respond." She was like, "I have dry humor, and I specialize in marketing, and like, I just clue. I wasn't being serious."
It was just fantastic. So I felt gaslit while watching it almost. Like, it was like,
that's hilarious.
But I love her energy. It was like, girl, yeah. But also, Wedges became an unspoken victim in that. And I was like, leave Wedges out of this. Leave Wedges out of this.
You know what? We have to wait, because Oshale is kind of low key the.
No, Oshale hates kitten heels.
What?
It's you trying to act innocent, girl.
Wait.
You will be quiet in the chat for like days on end and then come back and go, do y'all see these shoes? This is like
disgusting.
That is true though. You will act like somebody like personally offended you or called you a slur if somebody busts out an outfit with kitten heels. You're like, the whole thing was ruined.
Well, I don't understand what the purpose is of like a half-inch lift off the fucking ground. Just wear flats or wear heels. Like, what was the point?
What was the reason?
Oh Lord!
I can't.
Shout out to all the kitten heels.
Listen, the way my busted knee is set up right now, I don't even think my knee can support a kitten heel.
My knee can't support any of them, so I don't wear heels no way, regardless. So
I did see a video of a girl who posted like the shoes her mom used to wear to the club because her mom was a millennial, and it was all like Charlotte Russe and Shoe Dazzle, and I was like,
those were the days.
I completely forgot about Shoe Dazzle.
That's why we can't wear heels anymore, because we are traumatized. Like, I remember walking home barefoot because my feet hurt so damn bad.
I never had that issue with the Charlotte. Well, also, I wore a lot of the Charlotte Russe shoes that had the thicker heels too, with the platform. So I had a platform and a thicker heel.
That was.
I don't even like look at pictures from prom, like inside of prom, because at some point my feet were just like screaming because my heels were like 4.5 inches, and I took them off. So I'm like barefoot in a bunch of pictures, and I'm just like, no.
All I hear from my mom is, please don't be a heathen. Wear shoes that you can dance in for prom. Yeah. But Charlotte Russe shoes and Charlotte Russe plus size jeans really were clutch at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like I had some Jessica Simpsons. Back in the day. I had some Payless.
Yeah. Especially for church.
Yes, definitely for church. The fact that Payless doesn't exist anymore. I mean, who was I talking to? I was at work and I was talking to a Gen Z, but a younger Gen Z, and really pretty girl with like this big curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
White girl with this big, the big curls. And I was like, oh my goodness, you are giving Felicity right now. You are giving peak Carrie Russell. And she was like, who is that? She was like, I thought I gave more like Sex in the City. I just started watching it. And I was like, she's like, I think I give more Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. I was like, no, you're giving Felicity. She was like, I've never heard of that show. I was like, oh my God, you never heard of Carrie Russell? She's like, no, I don't know who that is. So I had to show her. I Googled it. I was like, this is showing my age. And I showed it to her and she was like, oh, I think I've seen that actress before, but she has straight hair, doesn't she? And I was like, no. It's like, she has iconic curls. She may have straight hair now in some of her roles, but we grew up with her having curls. And you need to go watch Felicity because that's what you're giving. And she was just like, okay, I'll go look it up. I was like, look at that.
Gen Z are so funny. I texted my babysitter yesterday. She had sent me some meme or something. Like Christina does this thing where she sends me like a billion memes at a time when she gets them. Yeah. And I was like, you're definitely the meme queen. And she goes, oh my God, the Gen Z in me is so happy. That's like the best compliment you ever given me. And then I sent her like the little you know how like in emoticons you'll do like the semicolon and then a D to be like, and I sent her that because I knew it was gonna trigger her. She called triggered. She called me on FaceTime from the bathroom. She's on the toilet, and she goes,
"How dare you?"
She goes, "You hear that? You hear that?" I said, "What?" She goes, "You hear that knocking?" I said, "Who's there? The police?" She goes, "Oh yeah, they come to get you." I said,
"You."
I said, "Are emoticons not cool?" And she goes, "What did you call it?" I said, "Emoticons." She goes, "I have never heard that word. What is that word?"
That's crazy. Yeah, we are old, y'all. Like,
we're old.
There is this TikTok that's going viral of this dude that's like, if Kamala Harris gets the nomination, she needs to get the Gen Z vote is she just needs to turn her whole campaign into a meme. And she needs to profit off like the whole falling off the coconut tree thing. And she
listen, you know who's already turning it into a meme? You know what's already being turned into a meme? The AKAs.
Really?
Oh.
My sister just sent me a meme and it was a picture of a bunch of AKAs and they look like they're about to like destroy somebody, and it literally says AKA or KKK. You decide. And I was like, on one hand, that's actually like a slay
eats as Gen Z.
That's a slay slogan. But on the other half of that, like, who did this and why?
Who
did this?
Because we've been cracking jokes all day, like, oh God, because Kamala went to Howard, and it was like, they like, HBCUs always like battle like who's the better HBCU. It's like, do you know that Howard just needs, like, if this happens, Howard just needs to change their slogan to "We make presidents."
Yes.
Like,
straight up.
It's like
straight up.
any other HBCU come out and be like, "We make presidents." What do y'all make? Like,
that's so good.
I was like, I would be insufferable.
That would be insufferable.
And I love this for both groups, but I would be insufferable. Yeah.
Gen Z's ability to make anything a meme is actually quite entertaining.
It's a trauma response. It's like they are so over life that their prayers. Have you seen them try to do those TikTok dances? They don't even move. They're like,
yeah.
It's a trauma response. They're over it.
Well, you know how they say that we're so unserious as parents. Like, I'm like, we went from, I was like, think about it. The parents of now are us. And we have literally been going through like tragedy after tragedy after tragedy since like, I don't remember when the first major tragedy was in my lifetime, but I know it's been a lot. Especially after I turned 10. After I turned 10, it really took off. So like 1999 on, it really started taking off in the wrong direction.
I mean, there's just been so many. Like, I think about, I don't know if I was alive. I would need to look up the year, but for some reason it comes across so clear to me that I don't even know if it just history has made it clear, or if I lived through it. But like the earliest I can remember, it was like the Challenger blowing up. And everybody watched.
Ma'am, that was in our lifetime. Are you talking about?
Just like,
okay, so there was like two of them, but the main Challenger one, oh my god, I hated that one. I did a report on that.
Like, that's like the earliest
report on that
traumatic event that I can remember, and then it just keeps stacking and going up from there. Like 9/11, like it just keeps, the train just leaves the station, and it's like a fast moving bullet train with no stops.
It's like, as Gen Z, it's like, what are you left with? It's like everywhere floods when it rains. Global warming has us having 80-degree weather in Houston in the middle of July, which, mind you, this is the greenest my grass has ever been without me spending a grip on a water bill. But I'm also just like genuinely concerned for what fall is going to feel like. Because of the way that the temperature is in July. Like, we were in the 80s at one point in July, which, if you don't live in Houston, doesn't make sense because you normally wake up and it's already in the 90s. So, like, I walked outside the other day and I was just like, we're gonna die. like I'm not complaining about it because I really like the temperature, but it's also like, you think about it, like, global warming is eating us up. Like,
well, I was talking to somebody and I was like, I remember as a kid actually enjoying summer, being able to run outside with my friends, have adventures, like do things, like go places and feel like be outside. It would be in North Carolina. It's typically like cool in the morning, heats up during the day, cool back at night. Like, you could have a light jacket for the evening time. You could go out to eat and know you're going to have a light jacket. Everything's going to be fine. And now it's like, it's been so hot. The heat finally broke, but it's been so hot that like, you can't even go outside and have like summer activities. You can't like sit outside. You can't even go to the pool. Like, it's so hot that you can't do the typical summer things that you would enjoy doing. And it just made me feel so bad for this generation of kids. I guess it's Generation Alpha. Like, they will never know the days of just being outside with your friends all day long in the summertime, like from sun up, from the moment the sun peaked in the summer, because you didn't have school, you were like, we got to squeeze all of the enjoyment out of this day. You were out the door, like you had your snacks. Your parents were like, all right, you got your snack. You were going to your friend's house.
Bro, you didn't even go inside, because if you went inside too much, you had to stay inside because you was letting the AC out. So you just drank water from everybody's water hose.
Everyone's water hose. You went from friend's house to friend's house to friend's house to friend's house to friend's house. Ate. You had your snacks. You were on your bike. You picked up this friend. Then you went here. You did this. And I was just
also like, the Kool-Aid lady that sold the Kool-Aid pops for, man, bless her.
And I just feel bad. I was like, they'll never know that. Like, they're constantly on their phone, constantly online. It's too hot to go outside. They're watching YouTube videos all day. They're on playing video games or watching other people play video games. I will never understand this.
Okay, I'm a person that watches other people play video games, so I can't talk junk.
I'm so sorry, but I'm just like, what?
I have been watching my brother play video games my whole life when there wasn't a 2-player option, so you know.
I don't know. There's something about walkthroughs that are just really fun.
Oh, I love certain walkthroughs. People also don't understand it's like playing outside back in the day, like we climbed trees. We randomly decided to learn how to skateboard.
Just good time.
One time, I mean, we also got into like, we got a lot more injuries and stuff back in the day. Like I remember because in the military, every dependent has a file underneath the person that was in the military. Yeah. And so like our file would be like this big, mind you, it's 6 of us, but our file would be this big. Gosh. My brother's file alone was like this big. And the majority of them was like stupid injuries. But mine was not that far off from him because again, stupid injuries. Mm-hmm. Like one time we got a camcorder and decided that we were going to reenact one of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fight scenes, but we decided to do it on the roof instead of on the ground because, you know, why not?
Ambiance. Make it more realistic.
Make it more realistic. Y'all were doing real life stunts.
We built a skate ramp out of wood and cans. I did not say we were smart, but we were outside. Plus, we also had our own lawn business for one summer where like we went around the whole base and like offered to cut the yard. Like we cut it, trim it. I could shape trees. I do all that. We made a whole bunch of money that summer.
That's crazy.
After paying my dad our rental fees, we used it to buy my parents a Mother's Day gift and a Father's Day gift.
Your dad was like, I will be making money from this.
Well, my dad said, and I quote, how did you think he was going to start a business without equipment?
He has a point.
He has a point.
Oh my God.
I'm older now and I see what he meant, but sometimes I'm like, Daddy, you ain't have to teach us that lesson then.
Right.
Just like the amount of scars I have on my legs that have like never like truly gone away are just all childhood scars. Like they're just ridiculous. I remember like 2 years ago, my grandma had seen this one on my shin and she was like, Mimi, what is that bruise on your leg? Has it always been there? I was like, yeah, since I was like 8 or 9. She's like, what happened? I was like, oh, one of our neighbors like backed into me. And she was like, huh? I was like, mind you, we live on the same street.
Attempted murder, nothing.
She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh yeah, Mr. So-and-so's sister. She was like backing out of her driveway, or his girlfriend, whoever she was, back out of her driveway. I was riding my bike and I was racing my brother and I did not brake quick enough. And it wasn't a hard thing, but he hit me. I fell and my leg got tangled into my bike. And the funniest part about it was that she gets out, freaks out, screaming and crying. And my dad is at my house at the end on the corner. And he goes, oh, she died. Get up and walk it off. His favorite sentence to us would get up and walk it off.
Oh my gosh.
So I got up and I limped over with my bike.
We all have the same parents?
I'm convinced like Gen X Black parents are a different breed of people.
Shake it off. You're fine. No crying.
No concussion on the soccer field. And I remember hearing my mom.
I will say though, my mom, when I got into the house for him to like, because I was bleeding where the cut is. My mom was like, oh my God, what happened? And daddy was like, oh, whoever so-and-so, I can't remember her name, backed into Troy. And my mom, like, it took her a second to process what he was saying. And she was like, backed into her? And then she's like, and then with the car after that, she flew into hysterics. And she made me lay on our bunk bed, the bottom bunk. She put a pillow under my leg as if it was broken and wouldn't let me go back outside to where my grandpa comes over and he's like, where's Troy Nicole? And my mom was like, oh, she's in her room. And he comes back there and he's like, Troy Nicole, what's going on? And I said, Papa, can you talk to Mama? She won't let me leave. And he goes, what did you do? I was like, got hit by a car. And he was looking at me like,
oh, nothing, just almost died.
And he goes, okay, well, listen to your mother. And then he kissed me and walked out. He was just like, okay.
He was like, absolutely not. I am not.
The way that you thought casually saying almost got hit by a car.
I literally did not feel like it was barely a hit.
Don't think about it like that.
But yeah, it's still there on my shin.
I stole my mom's bike when I was too small for an adult bike but I wanted to prove to my neighbors that I could do it. And I went down a hill and ended up like just skeeting right on off the bike and like skid and like scraped all the way down my chest. I still have a scar like that's right here. And every time my mom sees it, she's like, I still want to smack you upside the head.
I told y'all the story about me accidentally unraveling Jaws' stitches on his eye, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
also, siblings and stitches don't go together either.
They don't.
To this day, it looks crazy. Like right here. Like it looks horrible.
Like my sister had a scar right here from when she sorry. Every time I think about this story, it makes me laugh. She was running, my dog and her were running. We had a puppy at the time running up and down the hallway, and she tripped over the runner in the hallway and hit right in the door frame.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that
was the time where I realized I was the responsible sibling of all four of us, and that my brother like did not handle crisis well. That was the one accident where I learned I don't get to be second oldest in this situation, huh?
You have to like take control of the situation.
Yeah, like my brother basically almost passed out. My other sister was like in full hysterics, like she was the one who hit the door. And my baby sister
did the skin split open and it was gushing?
Like you can see the white. And so
yeah, I would have been your brother.
It wasn't gushing.
Yeah, same.
So like hit,
same.
And like she was still in shock, and that's when the blood started. And like I literally had to pick her up, take her to the bathroom. Like I wet like a washcloth. I just remember, I don't know why I thought to do this. I wet a washcloth and I immediately like slammed it across her head.
That's smart.
And I was like, stay here. And she's like, but you're pushing it really hard. But I really don't know what to do right now.
I would be horrified.
Because like the pain is a delayed reaction with stuff like that.
No, she didn't start crying until like 5 or 10 minutes later. And I was just like, oh, so you feel it now?
Yeah, and then it hurts so bad.
I'm like screaming at my brother, like, I need you to take 3 deep breaths and go outside and get the neighbor. Because I think my parents were at choir rehearsal or something.
Yeah.
And so
how are millennials still alive?
I don't know. Luckily, our neighbor was a nurse. That was the only thing that saved us.
Our parents used to leave us home alone, talking about something. Don't open the door, don't touch the stove.
Yeah.
And I'll be home in a few hours. And a few hours is really like a whole work day because they had to work. And we're there just in the house alone at like 9 years old watching our younger
to-do list on the envelope of one of the bills.
Yep.
Because she always left a note on one of the busted envelopes. Yep.
My dad was so funny because when he used to tell us that, we would be like smart asses, and I'd be like, oh, what if Papa comes over? Because my dad's rule was if they don't have a key, don't open the door for them. And I'd be like, what if Papa come over? He'd be like, don't open the door for that NIGGA either. And I was like, they ain't got a key, don't open the door.
He was like, no exceptions.
No exceptions.
My mom would say, and I quote, no adult coming over here would want to talk to any of y'all anyway.
Right? That part.
Like, I guess now that I'm older, logically, that actually clocks.
It does make a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
But the way, like, all of our parents would get CPS called on us in 2024.
Girl.
We had CPS called on them if anyone ever found out, but it was so normalized. Like, latchkey kids does not exist anymore. Like, not really. Like, maybe in areas of such poverty that it's like you don't have a choice, but for the most part, like that's no longer a thing in a lot of communities. Like, you can't just have your child just come home and open the door, like nobody is there for hours,
Also, the world is just a little bit different. Like, people snatch people's kids way too frequently now.
In broad daylight.
In broad daylight.
It's so sad. Like, your child could literally just be going from like the corner store, like around the corner to your house, like less than a 5-minute walk, and they're just snatched. And that's why I find it so scary that maybe I would be a helicopter parent, because the parents that be letting their kids like walk places alone, stuff like that, I'm just like, how?
Yeah. But even back then I wasn't allowed to walk. Well, I lied. As I got older, I was allowed to walk places by myself, but for the most part, I still walked with friends. Also, that is so true. Like, back then, we didn't even have smartphones, and we was doing a lot of. Imagine, like,
if you said you were gonna be somewhere, you actually had to follow through. So like, it just caused people to be more committed to their word. Because if you literally hung up your house phone with somebody and was like, "We are meeting at this time on this day," like, you met at that time on that. Like, there was no, can we cancel? Oh, I can't make it. Like, no.
It was also like to get permission, you had to like go into the office of the school, call your mom's work phone, and ask her if you were allowed to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a different time. And now we get summer camp counselors talking about how kids can't read or spell or understand basic, critical thinking.
Can we talk about the fact that the books they're giving kids are like way above their levels anyway? I'm so tired of like trying to read a middle grade book with my godson, and I'm just like, do I need basic history of Vietnam to understand this? Like, it'll be like the Vietnam War background, and I'm just like, now why would a 8-year-old know this?
The Vietnam War? Like, what?
It's so serious. I'm just like, what are y'all giving kids? I'm just like, who knows this?
I have a friend that is a librarian at one of the schools here. And so every year I go with her to Barnes and Noble and we like buy books to put into the library because, they don't really give her a fund. But then she was telling me about how like now before she buys the book, she has to get them approved to see if they're not on the banned book list because, they're still banning books here. And like I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I was like, you need to get Amari and the Night Brothers series. Like, I don't understand how you don't have that in the library. Like, we're just going over like all the different ones. And she said that I'm trying to think of the name of one of the middle grade books. I can't think of the name of the book, but it's like The Kids See Ghost. Yeah, okay. It's banned at her school because apparently it's witchcraft. Oh. And I was like,
separation of church and state is completely out the window.
Bro, it's not. It's like separation of church and state until we no longer agree with what you're doing. And now we have to make it church, but not church, specifically white evangelical church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to turn the whole country into. But we won't go into that because we don't typically discuss.
I'm about to say, I would love to go into a conversation about this, but when I tell you the political anxiety and doom and gloom that I feel prevents me from wanting to go into that conversation, I feel like maybe because I started reading Project 2025 and
we'll be reserving this conversation for our group chat because we don't typically discuss.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just saying, like, I started reading it because I was like, let me be informed. And the more I read it, the more depressed I got. And I was like, it's already a lot before adding this. I can't. It's I'm going to talk about going to the store and spending $30 on a mystery box. That's what I'm going to talk about.
Vina said, I'm tired of going into picture books and the real stories and the author's notes. It's confusing for me and my nieces.
Bro, yes, that's another thing.
Absolutely.
The picture books nowadays.
Yeah.
Because like they don't want their books to get banned. So like everybody's writing them in a specific, it's so ridiculous. I'm like, not me going to the store looking for books for my little, my little homies and all the books are like, yeah.
Literally, my aunt was like, oh, yeah, I need you to help your godson with his reading comprehension because it's not good. I said, well, I've read the books they read, and it's not his reading comprehension. It's this book. I don't understand what they say.
It's so crazy because I just literally stick to like older books that I know. Like, if I'm gifting a book, I will gift a book that's at least 15 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, because I read it as a kid or I know the book and I liked it. And I don't usually seek out like newer authors because that has just been not a good experience.
I feel bad for some of the new authors because like they're so afraid of getting their book banned that they're not telling stories anymore. It's just kind of like see cat run. Mm-hmm. It's like, because I got friends too that'll be like, hey Britt, like my I told y'all I have one homeboy that's reading with his daughter and they read middle grade series together. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, hey, have you read this series? I'm like, I haven't read it yet. He's like, I just want to know, like, are there some topics in there that I need to discuss with my kid? I was like, the fact that you even have to ask that nowadays is very interesting because I just don't remember my parents asking me those questions. Mm-hmm. And there were plenty of things in some of these books that were quite questionable. But I have him reading the Percy Jackson series with her. So they read the first Percy Jackson book, and then they had like a binge movie session to watch
nice.
the whole season. He's really cute with her. I have to give him
That's
props
so
for that.
adorable.
But it's like, yeah, I just,
I did that with Dakota, and then he blew up my phone asking me for spoilers, and I was just like, please.
Not with spoilers.
He was just like, okay, but I won't get another season for like 2 years. So what's this? What's that? What's this? What happens with this? And I'm just like, there are like 5
Oh my
books.
God. Speaking of 2 years,
Please.
dear streaming services, how dare you take 2 hours to only make 8 episodes? Or 2 years to only make 8 episodes?
About Bridgerton disappointment. I should have added that to my list of.
I have not watched it.
I've never read the book, so I don't know what to say.
The way that Bridgerton used to be one of my favorite shows, if not my top show.
Really?
Yes. And
sorry.
Yes. Excluding Queen Charlotte, because I did not finish Queen Charlotte. I'm so sorry, but watching a Black woman experience struggle love as a queen.
Bro, thank you. Because I was like, can we talk about the only 2 Black women in the series both went through the worst love stories?
That's
what kills me about it is that these characters are not Black in the books. So that was a creative choice.
Shonda.
The fact that she is a queen and literally had to deal with not just your regular ain't shit man, but one that was actually going crazy.
No,
actually unhinged.
Because I watched Queen Charlotte so that I could properly drag it one day if I ever got in a conversation. The part that actually pissed me off the most about Queen Charlotte was that, like, not only was she like taken from her land, made to marry this man who clearly has problems that they tried to hide from her. His dusty ass mama who set her up for this life had the audacity to also be racist. Yes. At what point are we just throwing royal hands?
I mean, all I know is that I couldn't quite put a finger on why so many white women, and I'm not trying to be offensive right now, but so many white women I would see would be like, oh my God, Queen Charlotte is my favorite. I love Queen Charlotte. Like, the love story is so good. And it just made me so uncomfortable seeing so many white women overwhelmingly loving Queen Charlotte and like being like, it's my favorite season of Bridgerton is Queen Charlotte. Like, it just brings me so much joy. Like, it's the best love story. And it's like almost so subconscious that you don't understand, that they don't understand that watching a Black woman struggle in love and be in pain and be lied to and be gaslit and all the crazy things that happened is like enjoyable to them. It's like fun to watch. And it's like, you have to unpack that. Like, and then you can't even have the conversation because they'll be like, no. I just love the story. I feel like it's realistic. I'm like,
I just start asking them to like, please point out the love story, because all I saw was a montage of them having sex.
All I have was it.
And because anytime they talked, they argued. So where was the actual love story?
I think it was just because the guy that they picked to play the king was very attractive.
I mean, the 2 actors that played them had fantastic on-screen
chemistry. Had great chemistry. The side plots were really interesting, and there was a lot of tension, and I understand that. But to me, like, it was so triggering that it was really hard to get through.
I feel like those are too short of episodes for them to deeply go into everything that was going on with Charlotte and George.
Like, they couldn't get into it because they also kept doing flash forwards. It was like they were telling 2 stories at once the whole season. Mm-hmm. And then not only that, but we were also learning about Lady Danbury at the same time.
Yes.
And I think Bridgerton's problem as the seasons are progressing is too many storylines and not enough episodes.
Well, definitely that. But I feel like they were able to pull it off in the first 2 seasons because the showrunner had read the books and had a deep appreciation for trying to interpret the books in such a way where not only it translated onto the screen, but it also kept the true heart of the story going. Mm-hmm. And he didn't mess with it so much to the point where it was unrecognizable. He changed things, but he changed things in a way that made sense for the screen. Like, okay, it was in a book, it's not going to make sense on screen, so let's change this, let's change that. So that's why the multiple storylines worked in seasons, the first 2 seasons. It wasn't too much. It still focused on the main couple, and it just served to give like a more full picture of the world and what was going on and to flesh out the characters. But this latest season, this showrunner, they got a new showrunner. She just went off the rails. She took it as an opportunity. Well, first of all, I don't think that she liked oh girl, what's her name? Why can't I think of her name?
Are we talking about the woman that's supposed to be the main?
Penelope. She didn't like her at all. And you could tell. You could tell watching it. I was like, oh, you didn't care for
please don't get me started on that, because I could rant for that like for like an hour and a half about the plus size girl who has to beg for love trope. I want to actually just,
but that's the thing, like,
her for that.
The book wasn't like that. So I was like, okay, so you clearly don't like this character and you don't find this character interesting, even though she's literally Lady Whistle. Like, she's the reason we're all here, but you clearly don't like this character. You don't care for her love story. You don't care to set it up properly. You don't care to be true to the books, but you're going to take this opportunity to set up everybody else's character and then take those characters in the directions that you think is more interesting because you didn't think that the book was interesting enough. So you're going to spice it up and take those characters in the direction that you feel is better. And I was just like, on one hand, I understand, because she's like, oh, well, I'm going to take creative license and I'm going to change this and I'm going to change that. Because I read some of her interviews. And on one hand, I could see where she was coming from. But on the other hand, then don't call it Bridgerton. If it's not going to be that would be like me sitting down to watch a Pride and Prejudice adaptation and they don't change Mr. Darcy. They don't change Elizabeth. The family is completely different. Now there's a son in the family. I'm sorry, what? Like, that would be like that. Like, I'm sitting down to watch Pride and Prejudice and it's not Pride and Prejudice. There's so many things that are different that I'm just like, what am I watching? It's the same thing.
Yeah, all the clips that I saw, I was like, why is the plus size girl begging for affection? Why is
too
she
much
the
of
only
that
love story where yeah, it's like, oh, I'm a spinster, I'm not wanted, I'm not attractive. What? Huh?
Too much of that season did not have Penelope in it, and I was just like skipping through, and I was like, okay, you know what?
Find her in Colin's scenes, and you're like, oh, it's only 2 minutes. 2 minutes in this whole episode.
But that's what I was saying. I was like, I think what's going to actually what's actually going to mess Bridgerton up the most is the fact that now we've got what, 4 couples? It's 4 couples now. And so when they do the 5th one, they're going to also have to keep us updated on the previous 4. Plus, Violet's got her groove back, so we're going to touch into that. But Lady Danbury is a literal crowd favorite, so maybe they might give us some more flashback of that.
Right.
I'm still confused how they're going to work around not having Lady Whistledown anymore. Like, I don't understand.
The books did it really well. Of course, they completely messed it up in the show because I just don't understand why you just can't adapt. Like, why couldn't you just stick? You thought the books were good enough to make into a TV show, but then you decided to completely change everything. I'm so lost. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch the next season because I might watch it just out of pure curiosity for the whole Francesca, Michaela setup versus Michael. I know people are going to be rioting. They're already rioting now.
They're already rioting.
When that season actually happens, I foresee a lot, like, even more anger and backlash, vitriol. So I'm just like, I might watch it out of just pure curiosity to see how they do a queer love story in a time when that wasn't allowed. And I get it. Like, this show already does like race bending and all kinds of stuff, but they already showed us in Queen Charlotte that it was like frowned upon. So I'm interested to see how they're going to make it work.
Also, I'm sorry if they do that and they don't explain what happened to Brimsley and old dude. I'm sorry.
There's a lot.
You forgot?
I thought about that too. I was like, well, you've already kind of told us that it wasn't acceptable. But now fast forward, like, it's been like what, 20 something years, 30 years, and now it's
yeah. So if you're gonna do it, go for it. But if you do this without giving me a flashback explanation,
I know.
Go back.
It's just well, you know, I think that the new showrunner has seen the criticism, and she strikes me as the type that thinks all press is good press. Like, she doesn't strike me as the type to be like, oh no, they're upset, we need to fix this. No, she strikes me as the type to be like, they're talking about us though. They're upset, but they're talking about us. So I'm very interested to see what a shit show season 4 is going to be. But I mean, we have to wait 2 years. So who knows? I might not care by then.
I will pirate that, but still, that's my statement. House of Dragons, Bridgerton, all of them. Why is it taking Percy Jackson? What's the mother? All of
this comment is so good.
I refuse to read them. Oh yeah.
I love reminding people about that. I'm like, y'all do remember that, like, yes, Bridgerton's books or whatever, but like the woman that wrote the Bridgerton books literally said the only reason she did not put Black people in it was because she writes happy endings. And double down on that thought too, like just in case everybody forgot, like she adamantly believes we do not get happy endings.
If she hadn't said that, I wouldn't have cared, because I'm definitely one of those people that I am not one to beg white authors to write diversely. Like,
right. I don't believe either.
I just don't care. Like, we already have authors of color that write for us. So it's like, I'll just go support them. Like, I'm not about to beg you. And then you're going to do it in a way that's going to piss me off.
That part.
Full of stereotypes. And
it's
just
basically like the shut up read but books.
So I would prefer you not to, but her saying that comment was just like,
yeah, it's like she didn't actually have to comment on that at all. She could literally like, I wrote what I wanted to write and been fine. But the way that like the way that she just had to add in, yeah, by the way, I'm racist. I was like, yo,
the way I'm racist.
I don't care. Like somebody told me that's not being racist. I'm like, it isn't.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Pretty racist. Like,
and then the irony to then like allow your book series to be sold to Shonda Rhimes.
To Shonda? I was like, but also Shonda don't. Never mind.
I'll say it. Shonda Rhimes. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with interracial relationships, but Shonda Rhimes, the queen of them.
It's not that Shonda Rhimes does interracial relationships. It's just that she always does Black women relationships so wrong.
So bad.
They are always tropes. They're Jezebel, struggle love, the other woman.
Side pieces.
Like, they never get happiness. Like,
Shonda Rhimes is to TV what Tyler Perry is to Tyler Perry Productions. And
I haven't watched the latest Tyler Perry movie, but my friend said, and I quote, I feel like I was gaslit.
Like, I'm not saying they're not great storytellers and great writers, but unfortunately with them, they have figured out a formula that is acceptable to the white gaze and that is palatable to white media. And they have leaned into that formula so much that it is very hard as a Black person to consume their art and like feel okay about it. You know what I mean? It's very hard to like walk away and be like, I feel good about myself. It's mostly just like, why is this happening?
Yeah, every time I'm like, at no point in a Shonda series have I looked at the Black woman in her series and been like, she's got a good life. Every single one of them, tragedy, cheating, divorce, other woman.
I mean, like, Scandal in itself, someone is going to do a psychological study. Some college professor is going to start a class that is basically a psychological breakdown of Scandal as relates to race. I am convinced, because I tried to rewatch it recently and I was like, how did I watch this the first time?
No, not how did I watch this? How did I come home every Thursday with wine, popcorn? Like, I sat down and watched this woman give up multiple fine chocolate men to be the side piece. What?
How? And I thought this was great TV. Like,
you know what got us? The monologues in Scandal. I don't remember watching anything with the level of I will read you to filth the way Scandal did, because there are multiple comments I still take.
That whole entire cast is extremely talented and they acted their butts off. I would say Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder when it comes to acting chops. I mean, Grey's Anatomy has its moments, but so many of the Grey's Anatomy characters piss me off after a certain season that I would just be annoyed watching.
Too many seasons of Grey's Anatomy. It's too many seasons for it not to happen. Like, you're on season 20. Why?
It's season 20?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for what reason?
After a while, like, especially after they killed off like most of the characters that actually started the show and made it successful, or either killed them off or wrote them off, I was like, why am I
Like, what are we doing?
I've
What
never
are we
watched Grey's
doing?
Anatomy. I think that was one show that I think
That was my show.
I think it started
growing
when
up.
I was like peak engineering. So I was like, I don't have time for the bullshit.
It's a really good show.
Listen, I feel like seasons 1 through maybe 6 and 7
I was about to say.
are when it caps
Solid.
off. After that,
Solid.
you start just.
I would say after COVID, well, definitely after season 7, things got weird. But after COVID, it just went off the rails because they integrated COVID. I mean, I guess they had to because it's a hospital drama into the show, and things just got real strange. It's like,
I feel like it's like medical shows outside of like ER from the 90s. It's like after that, there has not been another medical show.
Scrubs.
Not even Scrubs, because Scrubs was more of a comedy.
I was about to say Scrubs is kind of comedic.
It's like I can watch Scrubs now and laugh. I was not laughing at ER. Even Chicago Med. Chicago Med started off real good, and then I think they hit season 7 and the same thing happened. It's like medical dramas can only go for so long before it's no longer focusing on like helping patients and on focusing way too much on the doctors drama between each other that it's like, okay.
Did y'all watch
at Catherine one point Heigl? Like a monster happened.
Did y'all watch Katherine Heigl and Ellen Pompeo interview each other on YouTube? And at one point,
no,
Ellen Pompeo was like, we had a episode where there's like a lion in the middle of Seattle on the street, and me and Patrick Dempsey are like right there. And Katherine Heigl's like, why? And Ellen Pompeo's like, after you've had like a bunch of seasons, you got to come up with stuff, I guess. I was just like, I remember that, like going to work and a lion had escaped the zoo.
The writers were like, we need some filler episodes. So let's do some fun. Who has the most unhinged idea? Everybody put it into this jar.
They said interns, shoot your shot.
And then they do this thing where people's favorite couples who were still there, they decided, oh, one person wants to leave. It's okay that they're both okay with leaving. We're still going to break them up before they leave. 1,000 to add more spice. And I'm just
add more drama. Yeah, definitely went off the rails. I stopped watching it after a while because I am one of those people that once a show starts deviating like extremely from the formula that made it successful, I lose interest. And I just feel like obviously it's capitalism and they do it because of money, but I'm like, normalize having a show and being like, this show is going to end in 4 seasons. This is the story arc.
Well, it's exactly how I know it's going to end. With her other shows.
Yeah.
She did that with her other shows. She said that she felt like it was time to end the other shows. But it's like, girl.
I honestly think it's just because Grey's Anatomy makes a lot of money. It's a staple. So many people still watch it, strangely.
I mean, if I was Ellen Pompeo, I would. The money she get.
I'm not mad at Ellen at all. Because if you want to pay me a bunch of money to do the same shit every season, bet. Like, I'm here. Pay me.
And she be in like 5 episodes a season.
Barely even 5 episodes from what I hear. Because it's a girl on TikTok that counted one time and was like, she has a contract for this, but like, this is how many times she was in this episode.
She's basically like, I am in reserve. I am on the bench. Just put me in.
I think they mentioned her name in an episode, and that's
she's like the narrator still, and that's about it.
Yes, that's about it.
Do you know what I watched, Oshale, with my grandma a couple months ago? I forgot to mention Belgravia.
You finally watched it, isn't it?
And I watched season 2. Oh my god,
excitement!
Okay, I had to stop. I had to. Season 2 was about to send me.
It was giving me so much anxiety.
I couldn't do it. I watched the first 10 minutes and I said, "Oh baby, no."
My grandma actually asked me. She was like, "Ask Oshale, did she finish it?" And that's why I didn't in the chat.
I made it 10 minutes into episode 1, and then I said, "You know what? My life means more to me."
What? It gives me so much anxiety to even think about finishing it. Like,
I was I have something to live for. And if I watch this, I won't.
Jesus.
So much stuff, no, listen. So much unhinged stuff happens in season 2. So I'm just like,
wait, what show is this?
It's so good. I feel like I told y'all about it one day, and I did a
You
whole
did
summer.
at Brittany's house.
Yes.
Yeah, you always got us watching weird shit.
You always got us watching weird shit. But basically, it's like, okay, well, season 2 actually does not have any of the like original characters.
It's
kind of like
what,
one of those
25 years later, right?
Yeah, because it's like the son of like one of the couples in the original series.
Oh, baby, no.
And it's honestly, I can't explain it, but it's basically like every other period drama where it's the lives of all these rich people.
Oh, it's a period drama. Should have known.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I thought first season gave me anxiety.
But see, first season's anxiety was in a controlled environment. You know what I'm saying? Like everything.
And it was low-key kind of funny.
It was low-key funny, and like you kind of knew where it was going, but you didn't, but you kind of did. And you're like, okay, this is safe. I feel good here. I feel good about this. I can go on this journey with you. The second season 2 started, baby, 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, absolutely.
I was like, hey, who are you? What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, we are just off the rails.
Ashley said, thank you, good night.
I said, I watch period dramas for comfort and a little bit of tingles. Like,
oh no, girl, don't finish it. Don't finish it.
I won't.
You know what? I'm sorry. I've been watching anime.
I've been watching anime. That doesn't make you anxious?
Well, let me rephrase. I haven't watched any new anime. Well, no. Hold on. Let me just pull out my Crunchyroll because I've actually been watching a lot of anime.
While you do that, you know what I can't wait for, right?
What?
Anime-wise.
Oh.
The new season of my fave, sweet little Sawako. I cannot wait until the new season comes out for, oh my god, I almost forgot the Japanese name of it.
Uh-oh.
I know the English equivalent of it, but why am I forgetting the
I'm about to say, just do the English version of it. It'll come to you eventually.
Yeah, eventually, right? It's gonna annoy me because I watch this like all the time. Kimi ni Todoke.
Oh my gosh, that's on my watch list.
And they're having a new season after like a billion years, and I cannot wait for it to come out. It's just the sweetest drama.
The cute one that I watched was A Sign of Affection. It's about this deaf college girl.
Oh no, I was talking about watching
guy. Adorable. But then obviously I started rewatching Jujutsu Kaisen. So,
and that didn't give you anxiety?
I should probably rephrase. Jujutsu Kaisen first season I've already watched. So I went back and watched it again, but right now I'm listening to it in the English version, and I'm realizing two things. This particular anime is actually not a bad English dub.
No, the dubbing is
I specifically listen. I do not like dubbed anime in general because the English actors for them are like usually the worst picks. Like I will never forgive the way that they did Inosuke in Demon Slayer and Bakugo in look, it's my face.
Oh my gosh.
Bakugo and My Hero. So it's like, oh, but this time because I've been drawing and I've been sewing my cosplay. So I needed something to watch like while I'm working on my cosplay. And so I was like, I'm gonna just put it in English because I realized Gojo's voice did not sound annoying on Megan's Otaku Hot Girl song. And I was like, his voice actually wasn't that bad. So then I started listening to it in English. So now I'm rewatching it. I'm on episode 9.
So A Sign of Affection was cute because the last anime was a deaf character. I still have trauma from it.
Okay, so I think Sign of Affection is good. I don't know anybody who is deaf to verify if it was done in a way that made them happy. So I'm only speaking from this as a person who has
Did you watch A Silent Voice?
I did not.
That gave me trauma, and I literally have only seen it once, and I hated it.
There's one character in Sign of Affection that I hated him from the jump. But like she signs, but then also like the people around her want to learn sign language too. So like she made them this cute little book to like teach them how to sign, and the friends like treat her like a normal human being. And then the love interest, I was sitting there like, You know, on some of the like romance animes, when you're watching them, they kind of make you just like feel like you're like the short person in the chair, like let your feet just kind of dangle, and you're just like, oh, this is adorable.
Yes.
That was me. That
Okay.
one, and then there's another one where it's two like grandparents that are like basically 17 again. It's basically like an anime 17 again.
Nice.
What is the name of that one?
I've been binge watching this K-drama called Doctor Slump, and it's like these two doctors who were like childhood
The ones
rivals.
that are depressed?
Huh?
Are they the ones that are depressed?
Yes.
I've seen that on Netflix over and over again, and I'm like, I just don't know.
Listen, I was okay. The guy who's playing the main guy, Park Hyun-suk, he notoriously plays like really cutesy characters. Like he's always super in love with his main. So I was like, you know what? I love him. I love his work. And I love her work. So I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And basically,
Oh no.
I loved it so much, and I found myself crying sometimes because like the whole thing is that like they grow up, right? They were academic rivals when they were kids, but they go apart after college, and they meet again because his life falls apart and so does hers. So she has like a problem at work and decides to quit. Meanwhile, he is going through a malpractice suit because someone dies on his table, and it comes out that he might have done something to intentionally kill her, right? So he's like, I would never do that, but there's all this evidence that said that he did something. So anyway, he loses his money, his job, his practice, and he ends up moving back home. And what he doesn't know is he's living on top of her childhood home. And so they meet again, and since they're both in like slumps in their careers, they decide to be friends, even though they kind of can't stand each other. And their friendship is so cute. Obviously, he didn't do it. Okay, let's keep it up. Like that's just obvious. He's the main character. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But when you get to the ending, when you find out what happened with him specifically and how it connects to her, I wanted to flip the laptop over. I was like, no.
I love and hate stories like that.
Crying.
Love hate stories like that so much.
They were cute. I love them because she like spent her whole life only being focused on work to the point where he would like tell people like, oh, you know, she used to like eat chili peppers to stay awake. Like that would be her lunch. She would just eat chili peppers, and then she would take instant coffee, and instead of putting it in water, she would eat it because they would like go straight to her system, and she would faint in class because of it. And everyone would be like, she's so pretty, but what the fuck is wrong with her?
That's insane, actually.
So she didn't have a real childhood growing up. So she's doing all these like kid stuff with him, and it's so adorable. She's unhinged, and I loved it. It was too much for my soul, but
I just don't like when there's not a happy ending.
Well, there's a happy ending, so it don't matter.
Oh, okay.
So if there's that bad ending for somebody, but you ain't gonna like that person anyway. So.
Oh, okay.
But they have a happy ending, and they're really cute.
I think there's only been like 3 K-dramas that I've watched that I've liked.
Ooh, I've watched none. I don't like K-dramas.
I love K-dramas.
One of them is My Name is Gangnam Beauty. I liked that one.
I love that.
That's one of my faves. Then another one, I can't remember the name, but it was basically about this like world where you entered this lottery to be on this dating show to date these like boys that were basically raised in this compound because in their world boys aren't being born and only girls are being born. So whenever a boy is born, they like take the boy away and like raise them like in this secure facility where they're raised like perfect and they like don't have any danger and they're just like brought up, and then they put on a reality show, right? Since boys are in such high demand and they're not being born, there are only a certain number of them. So they put on a reality show when these boys become of age, and all the girls in the country enter a lottery to be on the reality show to marry one of these boys. And as you can imagine, these girls have grown up going to only girls' schools. Every bathroom is a girl's bathroom. Like they literally did not grow up with boys because boys aren't being born. So they are all entering this lottery to like get on this show so that they can get married because these are the only boys that exist in their entire country. Well, the main character is this girl. She works at like a convenience store and her parents are gone, and she takes care of her little sister who has some type of like terminal illness, and she could care less. She thinks the whole thing is stupid. She's like, this is so dumb. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't even like boys, don't care about boys, never grew up with them, I don't see the point. Like, who gives a fuck? Her little sister, however, is like obsessed with, I think there's like 4 or 5 of these boys are kind of like, they've become like superstars, right? Because everybody cares about these boys. They follow them. They have like TikTok and like social media, and they're always on there. So they're kind of like celebrities. And these are the 5 boys that are going up for the next reality show to be married. So the little sister is like obsessed with them, right? And she's like, you need to enter, you need to enter. And the big sister is the main character is like, girl, no, like, I don't care. So her little sister enters her, of course, without her knowing, right? Enters her in, and she gets chosen. And she's like, what the actual hell? But she goes to the initial casting call anyway. And basically it's a bunch of girls. And then they have these like little contests. Of course, everything's televised. And it like narrows the girls down until you get to like the top 5. It's kind of like The Bachelor, but way more intense because these girls are like cut throat. Okay. Anyways, so she doesn't care, but the only reason she decides to stay in the contest is because they're basically like, well, if you get to a certain point, you get to, if you actually get to the point where you marry one of these boys, we can pay for your little sister's treatment and she can be healthy and you guys can go live on the farm, which is like the place where the boys live, and you'll be safe and all this stuff. Meanwhile, in the background, there is a whole rebel uprising going on of people who think that the whole farm thing is wrong. They think that these boys need to be freed. They think that like, that sounds like one of my books, but that's what
that sounds like one of your books.
It sounds like you found the K-drama.
So mad. This sounds like an Oshale recommended
book. It
book.
was so good because it just didn't go where I was thinking it was going to go. I thought it was going to be this silly little show about a dating contest, and then it turned into a whole fucking like revolutionary
Honestly,
story.
it still sounds like a book you picked up and ended up reading the whole series. That's what it sounds like.
It is so good, and I'm kind of pissed off that I can't remember the name of it. It's literally called like something contest or something date. I don't know. I'll have to go back in my Netflix watch history and see. But it is so good, and it was not what I was expecting. I thought
that's what I was saying in my head. It sounded like The Selection, and that is one of her favorites. Don't you love The Selection series?
I do love The Selection, although I reread it recently and I was like, huh. But anyways,
I'm mad that as a collective, all of us were like, this totally sounds like a book Oshale would recommend.
I liked it. It turned out to be way more than I was expecting in a good way, because I thought it was just going to be a cute. But then it turned into something else, and I was like, oh, I did not see this coming. And
surprisingly, I only watch slice of life type K-dramas, like most things, because I am depressed enough.
Oh my God. I wasn't ready for that statement.
Oh my God. I should be laughing.
Like, I'm not laughing because of what you said. I'm laughing because of how you said it, because it took me off guard. I was like, yeah, oh, damn.
I'm going to try to find the name of this show. Hold on. Just to distract us from that statement. Because
while Oshale does that, we've been on here for almost an hour and a half, and unfortunately,
Ready, Set, Love.
I've heard of that one. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So in typical, we are still a book club fashion. What books are you guys reading? And then we'll go into some quick announcements.
Okay, y'all are gonna really be shocked by this. Like, shook. I'm not reading anything.
Oh, I thought you were about to say, like, I've been reading this high fantasy trilogy or something. I've noticed when life lifes us, our reading goes down. It's like the anxiety. It's either we read to distract us from our responsibilities, or it's so overwhelming that we can't handle reading anything new.
Yeah, I don't have the attention span to read right now.
I'm realizing that I don't have an attention span either, because I can't even remember what the name of this book is I was reading. I go to my...
Mina said she thought she was about to say she reads nonfiction.
I'm not in my nonfiction era right now. I was like 4 years ago, but
I was 4 years ago.
About 4 years. Well, it's kind of like after COVID, nonfiction is just not hitting. I'm like, I got too much reality.
I don't want to hear about somebody's real life tragedies. I'm sorry. telling me your brother got burnt up by a dragon. Yeah, I can read that, but
Right?
Yeah, I could read that.
yeah. I am reading of Jade and Dragons, but I am listening to 2 books that I received, or 3 books that I was supposed to like finish last month. And then I meant to listen to them, during Barrel, but life started lifing me up. So the 3 audiobooks that are in rotation right now for when I'm at work is Masquerade, Curvy
Okay.
Girl Summer, and Let the Games Begin. I meant
Oh.
to have these read last month, but like I said, life lifed me. So
Here it is. I couldn't figure out what the uh, author's name was. I started Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter because people were saying it was so good. Did not realize it was YA. I'm not into teen romances, but I started it. Now I feel like I have to finish it.
Feel that.
yeah, Venus said she's waiting for my Lord of the Wilds. Technically, that video has already been edited and uploaded. I think it's scheduled for this week. Like I batch edit videos and I just put them like in order of how I put them on YouTube. So I think that's the video for this week, but I don't remember. Yeah, it should be, I think, because I had to I pushed videos back 1 week because of Barrel, because I was like, I don't have internet, I can't communicate, let me not do this. I hate to hear that about Masquerade because I'm having very interesting thoughts about Masquerade at the moment. I have not had a 5-star read this year, y'all.
Have I?
Wow. I don't think I have either.
I don't think so. I've had 4.
Like, I've had a couple 4s.
Yeah.
I've had like 4.5s too, but like nothing that I was like,
it's sad.
Oh my God.
Don't expect to have 5-star reads anymore.
I feel like the last 5-star I read was in December. Anything else?
I'm happy with the 3-star these days.
When was the last 5-star?
Honestly, 3 and 4 aren't bad. Even though people keep on acting like 3 stars is like, I'm like, it's out of 5.
Yeah, I don't understand why people freak out about 3s, but I've been giving a lot of books 4s. Like, books have been holding my attention. I feel like, there's been some decent stories, but that's the thing. They've just been decent.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like there's not one book every year for the longest time. I've had at least one book where I'm like, you should read this book. I loved it so much. I
haven't had that yet.
We are in July and I have no 5-star reads.
That's crazy.
Last year in January alone, I had like 3. So
yeah, last year I think I had like 5 after the year had ended that I really, really enjoyed.
Oh, Deja, you too? She said the new books are not hitting. They're not. I don't know what's going on. I think the editors need to stop editing these stories to be so bland, because I'm feeling also like the stories that we're being promised are not the stories that we're getting in some of these books. So it'll be like, oh, this is good. Like, if you're looking for this kind of book and this kind of book, this is the book for you. And then you get the book and it's like, this has nothing to do with what you advertise this book as.
I know.
Like, you're killing me. I don't know. And they're giving me like, they're building me up to what's supposed to be like a climactic moment. And then when they get there, it's like falling off. It's like, okay, so y'all had me. You could have really reeled it in there. Because Dragon Fruit kind of did that for me, where I was like, I really, really enjoyed Dragon Fruit. But by the end, I kind of felt like they were just like, all right, we're quick. Hurry. Wrap it up.
Dang.
So. Ooh. I'ma just
hurts sometimes.
I mean, facts. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying. My reading slows down in the summertime, so my reading will pick back up during fantasy fall. But I'm reading right now because I'm on the days where I go to work. I like my cubicle is like in the far corner where nobody goes. And so I like to stay quiet. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Lore of the Wilds is actually one of the letdowns of 2024 for me.
I remember you saying that in the chat.
And I mean that with my whole chest for many reasons. But my video for it is coming up this week, I think. So you'll see why I feel the way that I feel.
I found that the better the cover, the worse the book.
Bro, don't get me started.
It's because the publishers already know what they have, which is a whole pile of
I feel like the publishers know they don't have to give us quality if they give us a great cover. Because I love the artists that are getting these opportunities to make these stunning covers. I
honestly feel it's a marketing strategy. Like, I think they are aware that the content does not live up, so they make the cover really good.
They also like have a tendency to make the covers like darker than the characters described in the book.
The only thing I'm going to say about covers is that I would just like to sit all of the people who make decisions on covers for romance novels recently in a room and ask them to please, to please stop giving me the same cartoon covers, because I don't know who wrote this and who wrote that, because it's the same cartoon covers.
It's not even the cartoon cover, it's the trace. It's the like take the
with
picture
no
and
features.
Trace the girl.
And that's why I love independently published authors, because the indie author is still going to give you a real human being on the cover. They are not going to do this cartoon. They're going to give you a hot male model that they found somewhere. I'm not sure where he was found, but I'm okay with it. And you know what?
I do want to know where they find them, though.
Wherever they find them, keep finding them.
They be fine. And I'm like, oh.
Because it gets to the point where, like, I was trying to rearrange my bookshelf, and I have 6 books from different series that all look the same. And I had to look at it and be like, oh my God, this is this author, this is that author. But it's the same little doodle.
Yeah, I don't
Well, you're right. If it's the picture, if it's the romance books with the people on the cover, I know who wrote that book by looking at the way that like because they all have like a certain type of lighting that they like to use with their books and everything. Again, I believe that the hype around actually actively showing diversity is dying down. Now that DEI is slang for using the N-word, they are starting to no longer put it in their campaigns. And so we're seeing less and less quality. Like, they're putting it out because they know that we are going to try to support our people as much as we can, but they're not actually caring about the quality anymore. I'm sad for that. Because even the fantasy books have been like, I'm not even going to say that they're bad books. I just think the writing is terrible. I'm like, how are y'all
buying books?
Deal
at the library. I ain't reading.
An hour and a half. We got to move on.
Yeah. Okay. Announcement time. Nekkid is coming next month.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes, we've been gone, but of course we're still getting naked.
We are still, because we need something fun, we need something light, we need something that's going to bring a little bit of joy. It's been a rough year for some of us.
So. Of course, the author list is coming out again.
Yes.
So you'll be able to like pick some books. I'm gonna try to. I no promises, but I've updated the list a couple of times in the past year, but I'm gonna try to update it with some more names that I have in my notebook, and then I'm gonna try to release it earlier than Nekkid, so you can use it to look for some new authors to try to read. I think the list is like 6 pages now.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah, so.
And we will be doing a specific podcast for Nekkid, letting you know the dates. And well, we can let you know the dates now, but the prompts and just more information in early August.
Hold on, I have to pull out my planner because I forgot what the dates are.
Didn't we decide decide on.
Oh my gosh, I did not write it down. August is so empty on my calendar. You know what shows on my calendar? Oshale's visit. That's it.
Oshale's
We
visit.
decided there was a certain reason why we did a certain weekend, because I think Troy had a thing.
Yes,
So
I
we
just don't
chose
have
the
my
We chose the week before her thing.
Listen,
I'm pretty sure it was starting the 11th. I think that
Yes.
was.
I think it's the week of the 11th, but as soon as I confirm that, I will literally make a save the date to put on Instagram. Like, this is the week that we're doing it. We're also only doing it a week.
Mm-hmm.
The month is cute, but the month requires us to have more free time to fully plan out a month worth of things. Because we just don't have that in us right now. So
it's gonna be a week. There's 3 prompts. We're doing a kickoff podcast and then a wrap-up podcast. We're gonna have a group read, which we haven't decided on yet, that we're all gonna get and read together, and it'll be fun.
Oh man. The fact that is yeah, we're planning another in-person shenanigans. It is starting to turn into like a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. We'll see how that works. We're already making ridiculous plans.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun.
As long as there's no hurricane.
And Brittany
and no falling.
Yeah, anything else? I think I don't have any announcements for Melanin Eclectic right now. I'm still trying to figure out things with this planner.
I'm just trying to crawl myself out of the hole that life is.
Aren't we all?
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. This has been said. Actually, I've actually gotten a couple of people that I talked to by DMs on Instagram that have been like, if Black Prose did like an in-person event, I'd totally go. And it was like, as cool as that sounds, I just don't think you guys understand that 2 of the 3 of us are severely introverted. And then the third one has a social battery the size of a toddler. So like, so it's like the idea of planning this event sounds amazing until execution day, and then we would be struggling.
Oh, what we need is we would actually need someone else to plan it and just be like, show up at this time.
Yes.
This
yeah,
is
actually,
schedule.
I would love that. Give me an itinerary so I know what I need to like mentally prepare for. And yeah, I'd show up. That's definitely.
I think it's the combination of like the mental load of planning it and the social load of having to be there and carry it out. Those two, too much. If we took one away, we could do the other.
Yeah.
I like that. That sounds very nice. Much nicer than my brain saying nah.
One day.
One day, though, I believe in us. One day. God is clearly preparing us for something because, woo!
Right. Seriously.
On that note, I need to go make or prep my lunch and iron my clothes for tomorrow.
I've got to go make my anti-cough tea.
I'm sorry, your anti-what tea?
It's a special tea that I make that helps my cough.
Oh, cough.
You said cough. Listen, it did not sound like cough.
What is your...
It cut you off and it did not sound like cough.
I'm sorry. I was like, what? Oh, man. It was either another word for a man's part or cop. Those are the 2 phrases that I thought you said. And I was like,
I thought you said, bok,
Oh, man.
It's time to go.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and being with us today. Guys.
Missed y'all.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.